What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And if you haven't been a fan of the channel and you're here because you got the code P11EC on your Toyota Tacoma, I got some bad news for you. And I'm going to jump right into what is going on, what is wrong with your truck basically, and why you got this code most likely. And then if you want to stick around, I'm also going to talk about some of the research I did on more information about it, the repairs that I got done at Toyota, because luckily this all fell under powertrain warranty for me, and hopefully you're still under powertrain warranty for your truck. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Alright guys, and really briefly before we jump inside of the garage where it's a little bit quieter, when this happened to my truck, I had 44,000 miles on the odometer. I'm going to show you here. Basically now I'm at 45,000. I have just put about a few miles, not even 1,000 miles since this happened. And right now the truck is fixed. We have no more check engine light. Let me just close my door really quick so it stops beeping. My tire light is just picking up one of my old sensors that is not tied to anything, but no check engine light. Everything is fixed, even though I do still have a bit of a rattle sometimes when I turn on the truck. I don't think it's related to this particular code. I just think they might have missed something didn't put it right, or something is maybe a little bit loose when they fix this, which is very unfortunate because it does get a little annoying sometimes. Now, what's basically wrong with your truck and why you're getting this code is that exhaust and intake valve on cylinder one, at least in my particular case, was basically burned out and done. And they had to go ahead and replace the whole cylinder head. This was Toyota's fix for this problem. They went ahead and replaced the whole cylinder head, the intake and exhaust valve. They did a whole gasket for the engine, and then also a couple seals and pins. If you have a truck with less than 16,000 miles, you're still under your powertrain warranty, definitely take your truck into the Toyota dealership and have them mess with it. And then some of these parts are not going to be cheap. So we're going to go over that here in a minute of exactly what the total cost on parts is. I unfortunately don't have the cost on labor. This was all under warranty, so they didn't really give me the cost. I just went online and looked it up. And I have it here on my sheet. This is the actual sheet I got from Toyota. If you go and check AutoZone or anything like that, then you get something like this where it tells you what the code is. All right, guys, so we are back inside now. It's a little bit cooler in here and not as loud as outside. Unfortunately, I don't have a ton of explanation of what is causing this issue. I tried to ask questions at the dealership, and they really wouldn't tell me too much. And even though some of the threads that I found online, they really weren't being told what's causing this issue. So that part of it is still a mystery. I don't know if this is a manufacturing defect where maybe the parts are being wrong, maybe assembly is happening, something is going wrong with that. So we don't have a clear reason of why. And that is a little bit scary because there's not going to be a way for us to kind of prevent this from happening if we don't know what's causing it, right? Some of these trucks, even 2020 trucks, are having this issue. Mine's a 2018. I saw another case of one being a 2016. So obviously that being a first gen and everything, this is some of the issues that we're finally starting to discover as we keep using these trucks longer. If you are under 60,000 miles or under the 5-year, then definitely take your truck into the dealership and have it be a warranty job. Have Toyota take care of it. That way you don't have to mess with it because it is a big job. You have to replace your cylinder head, you have to replace exhaust valves, intake valves, a couple seals, a gasket. So this is going to be a big job that you can definitely accomplish in your garage, but being a truck that is fairly new, in my opinion, you shouldn't have to do this. So it is a little bit concerning because we don't know how many trucks this is affecting. Again, I don't think, at least I didn't find a ton of people with this issue. There are some, but there's not a ton. So the percentage of failure, at least so far that we know of, seems to be relatively small, but it's still a sucky thing to have to deal with. So when this happened to me in August 2nd, 2022. I was driving home from work. I got a check engine light. I honestly didn't notice anything different with my truck. These trucks are very underpowered, so a lack of power wasn't really an indication for me that something was wrong. And if anything, I started feeling maybe just a slight misfire on the truck. So I figured maybe a sensor or something is going wrong, maybe a spark plug or something like that, and it's throwing the check engine light. So as I was coming home from work, I stopped by AutoZone, and that's what I had this scan done. That's where they told me the code that I was having with the truck, and that was P11EC. And that is basically a cylinder one air-fuel ratio imbalance. I was kind of impressed at AutoZone. They have these new sheets where they give you a lot more explanation compared to the old days. But they told you that it could either be the head gasket that was wrong or the cylinder head that was wrong. Now, with my truck, I haven't had any engine problems or drivetrain problems at all in 44,000 miles of it. I had this truck now for 4 years. I use it daily, get to work and back. And I don't do really off-roading with this truck. So really there wasn't any major usage or major abuse that I would think would cause an issue to where my cylinder head needed to be replaced. But then again, since that was the code that was thrown in here, I hopped online, looked it up, and started finding a couple other people that had a similar problem. I'm gonna leave in the description links to all these other threads on forums and everything, so you are a little bit more informed of other people with the same issue, and that way you can check out and see what they have to say about this. But because it seemed like a major problem, I went ahead and just went to the Toyota dealership the next day. So I took my truck on August 13, 2022 to my local Toyota dealership here. They took it in, they kept it overnight to do some testing, check what the engine light was about and everything. And then I also had a couple other recalls done that I needed to get done. Sure enough, about a day or two later, they called me and they told me that they didn't know what was the reason, what was causing this problem, but that they needed to basically replace several parts in the engine and that they were gonna go ahead and take care of it because it was still covered under warranty. So if you are past the 60,000 miles, past the 5-year mark on your truck, and you don't have powertrain warranty on this, it is gonna be a bit of an expensive job for you. I have here the list of the parts that they replaced on my truck, but I unfortunately don't have the amount of time that it took them to do this. I can't calculate the cost because I don't know how long it took them. I got my truck back in August 19 of 2022, so they technically kept my truck for about 17 days to do this repair. And I'm gonna run through the parts list here that I have so you guys can get an idea of what the cost of all of this is gonna be. Now, keep in mind, this is just prices that I found online. I try to look at them, all of them, through dealership websites, Toyota dealership websites. So I'm getting parts from a dealership somewhere online, and I'll link again at the bottom of the description so you can check it. So as the time of this video, the cylinder head is $855.08. The intake valve is going to be $13.48 and you need 2 of them. The exhaust valve is going to be $18.24. You need 2 of them as well. You're going to need the engine gasket kit, and that was $336.42. You only need 1 of those. And you also need 2 straight pins, which were $1.62, and 2 washer seals, which were $1.12. Now, all of that combined, as of this video right now, it's $1,260.42. That is just the pricing. That's probably without tax or anything like that. So you got to keep in mind tax for your state, potentially any shipping charges or anything like that. So this is just cost of the part. We are already at $1,260. You might be able to find them a little bit cheaper, hopefully, or maybe you'll find them a little more expensive. And then you got to calculate how much labor was or cost to do this. I have no idea how long it took. Again, they kept my truck for 17 days. So I don't know how many hours out of those 17 days they put into replacing this. And it is unfortunate that a truck that is fairly new, again, my Toyota is a 2018, is having such a major breakdown, especially when I haven't had any major issues with it. Now, I don't want to alarm anyone and say that this is happening to all Tacomas. When I found online, I didn't find a ton of threads on this. So I would say it's a very small percentage. I mean, with the millions of trucks that are being produced, I don't think it's an alarming thing, but it is a sucky thing to have to deal with. I think the earliest case on a truck that I found online was a guy with a 2020 truck that was having this happening to his, and I think he was either somewhere between 20 to 30,000 miles. And then I also found someone else that had a 2016, but I believe they also had 90,000 miles. So that is a very big gap between mileage. Now, the average person that this is happening to, it seems to be around the 40 to 45,000 miles. That seems to be the average on a couple of the threads I found. Mine, it happened at 44,000 miles. So again, I was covered under powertrain warranty. And I'm glad I was, because, you know, otherwise it would be at least $1,000 on parts coming out of my pocket, plus whatever it's cost me to get this fixed at a shop. And I guarantee you it's going to be several hours for this to get replaced, because you have to kind of take the engine or part of the engine out, swap out the whole cylinder, swap out the exhaust and intake valves, and then put everything back together. So it's definitely several hours to get this job done. I've seen some of the guys on the threads, they said that they cost them somewhere between $5,000 to $6,000. And honestly, I believe it just because of the magnitude of the job, of how it seems. Now, let me read to you the description of what the Toyota dealership for my truck to kind of get to this diagnosis. So basically, they scanned the truck and they got the code P11EC00, which meant it was a cylinder 1 air-fuel ratio imbalance. To kind of verify this, they went ahead and performed a cylinder leakage test, and they got 60% leakage at 100 psi from the exhaust valve. So they then proceeded to tear down the engine and remove the cylinder head bank 1. They found that the exhaust valve was burned, and they also found damage to the seat on cylinder 1. They want to go ahead and replace cylinder 1, they replaced the head, and they also replaced both intake and exhaust valves on that same cylinder. That is a bit of a big job, especially for the mileage that we have on the truck. This seems a bit of a catastrophic failure. Even though it's just on a small percentage of the truck, it's still a big thing. So now my concern is this gonna happen again on another 40,000 miles, 44,000 miles to my truck? If I'm keeping this truck long term, am I gonna have to worry about this in another 40,000 miles? I honestly don't know. It's too early to tell. The people that have had this replaced, they most likely have not hit that mileage again to see if this is gonna be an issue again. So keep that in mind. If you're having this issue and you're dealing with it at the dealership, this is something that is gonna be, at least I know, on the back of my head. And it's a bit concerning because I was planning on keeping this truck for a very long time. So hopefully this is helpful. If you are having this issue with P11EC, hopefully this helps you get a little more information on what's going on, and then it helps you get it fixed at the dealership, preferably, so that way you don't have to pay anything out of pocket. But if not, at least you have a little better idea. I'll link for every part that I got at least replaced on mine for my dealership. I'll link to you to where I found the pricing that I told you about today. But yeah, it is very bad news I have for you guys. If you have this, hopefully you get some good news that you are covered under warranty and you don't have to worry about it and pay it out of pocket. But if not, good luck to you, and then hopefully you get your truck fixed in no time. So that is all I have today for you guys. So thank you so much for watching. Good luck to you, and hopefully we'll see you guys on the next video. Bye. Code P11EC, and that's why you landed on this fucking A.